pride and joy of the world. What you guys do is so inspiring and so moving, and I'm crying again. I'm just so incredibly proud. Way to go, you guys.
Thank you, Deborah.
We're just a family, Yeah, we just feel at home.
Yes, my name is Hugo Tempelman. I'm a doctor. I studied in Nijmegen in the Netherlands. I come from a family of 9 children. I'm the youngest. And immediately after my studies, I went for South Africa because I wanted to study tropical medicine. And I think you can't do that in the Netherlands because then everything is different. And I was looking for a country which has first world education, third world pathology. And that inequality is exactly the definition of South Africa. I started working in a regional hospital of the former Kwandebele when the homelands were still there. And I was just a medical officer, but it was an unorganized mess and I can't handle that. So then I became assistant superintendent, started to reorganize the hospital, did on management, medical management. That was seen by the Department of Health and they asked me to come to the head offices of the Homeland. There I became Deputy Secretary for Health. At the Department of Health, I had decided that I want to specialize in public health and do a master's in public health. But I got the job before I did the specialization and I found out that that's politics and that's not what I wanted. And South African politics are not my politics anyhow. So I found a community with 140,000 people where there was no medical infrastructure. Started to talk with the leadership of that area, and they gave me a piece of ground, and I designed a clinic. Went to the bank, took a second bond on my house, bought 60,000 bricks, put my stethoscope on the wall, and constructed with the local people of Elandsdorp the clinic. There I started as a GP, so as a family practitioner. And it very quickly became big and bigger, and second doctor, and then X-ray department, and then a maternity unit, and then poof, 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 it all grew. And before you know, you are so deep involved in the problems of a community like this, that you start to think health is something completely different than running a clinic. If you really want to contribute to upliftment and improvement of health, you should improve the environment. So you go into prevention, you go into community, you go into clean water, you go into proper food, you go into a complete different perspective of looking at health. And then the HIV epidemic started in South Africa, where we got a chance and got the opportunity to start as the third unit in the country to treat HIV. It was devastating times in those days. Well, you've seen the clinic, you've been there. We had in between 5 to 10 deaths in the waiting room per week. People who just came there to die. Full-blown AIDS. It was horror. It was very difficult to work there. But we got the chance to start an antiretroviral treatment program. And a lot of the work there is as well prevention, because you might have 20% of the population positive, but it still means that 80% of the people are negative. And it is much more difficult to keep that 80% negative than only to treat at 20%. Because if you don't stop the zero conversions, that epidemic will continue to grow. Okay, so we had a tremendous death in this area. Young people, very young people. And that means young orphans. And often those orphans could not be taken in by the rest of the family anymore, because they had already consumed so much death that it should ruin them. So we ended up with a huge problem, and that is what we call the second wave of the epidemic. And that is our childcare program. Child-headed households, both parents died, and the oldest, 14, 15, becomes the person who needs to maintain the household, with 3 or 4 brothers and sisters below that person. Horrible circumstances where you can let it happen, or you can say we are so involved in that community, we don't let it happen. So that expanded our childcare program tremendously, not only in diagnostics of HIV and community involvement around HIV, but also what do we do with those orphans? How do we get them back to school? How do they get daily food security? How do they get a safe shelter? How do we prevent that they are raped or abused or child labor is coming into it? So we started to develop a very strong angle of community involved, community-based childcare work. And that takes us more or less to where we are today, an NGO which works in 4 major fields: provision of healthcare services, provision of youth and childcare and youth development services, and then community development. Because often what we need to execute our programs is not there. So we build theaters, and we build clinics, and we build research centers, and we build sports facilities and computer schools, or preschools, early childhood centers, nutritional units, water programs. And a lot of people say, but do you think that you can do that all? And we see that we get so much support that we can do it, and the community is very receptive and very grateful also that it happens. If you live in a country like South Africa, where the haves have it all and the have-nots have fuck all, then you can only contribute on systems if you choose for community-involved upliftment. And if you're ill and you need a doctor and the system doesn't cater for that, or bad, then you have to start thinking differently about what is the definition of health. And I think that I've saved more lives and uplifted the community better by providing clean water than that I ever treated children with diarrhea because of contaminated water.
My name is Johanna Matenji. I live in Elandsjoren. I started to work here since 1994, 24 September. I started to work as a translator. I went to the receptionist. Then now I'm doing the maintenance. I do everything at Ndlovu. I maintenance, I'm helping the other programs. So whatever you said I must do, I can do. I don't have a problem. I think Ndlovu Care Group does a lot of things. But the only thing the most people they recognize at Ndlovu is the boreholes. Because we are living in the area where there is no water. They've donated 53 boreholes. You can see even in the gate, the people are getting water from the clinic, some at the sports, some at NAP. Then there's a borehole which they've made Mtwane, Bloemport, Marapong. In total, it's 53. It's because we were getting water in the river where we drink with animals. And we do our clothing there, washing. We drink that water, animals drink that water. it's where they found out that we are struggling. I think when it started to expand is the way Dr. Yoko Templeman was working with the community, because he didn't refuse anything when the community asked. He also made the dumping site where we throw our garbage. And as the maintenance and the waste team, we are the one who's cleaning those things. Then community start loving Dr. Templeman as he loves him now.
Well, my name is Liesje Templeman. I came here with my husband Hugo 30 years ago, and 25 years ago we created the Global Care Group. At that stage it was only a medical clinic, and then it grew and grew and grew and grew. So I'm the founder and I'm the co-organizer. Actually, the last year I've been very much involved with the choir, which we started 10 years ago.
Yeah, the choir started in 2008 as a healing program for children affected or infected by AIDS, orphan and vulnerable children. You try to give those damaged goods, because that is what it is. 12, 13 years raped, being left alone by your parents, being robbers, being muggers, dealing with guns, dealing with drugs, not because they're criminal, but because they are destitute and try to survive. And we wanted to start, and for all those type of cares, we wanted to start a safe haven for children and teach them better life skills, how to cope with their major problems. And that's not easy, because if you tell me every day how better I must live and how better I can do, and I'm still going home hungry and in an unprotected area where I know that my uncle is going to rape me, then you don't contribute much.
And we thought a choir is maybe something very nice, because it gives them something to do, and it gives a feeling of a group, and they can perform, they can show their abilities, and what happened was actually amazing, because kids came in like that. And when you tell them you must sing and you must blow up your lungs, they stand like that. So all of a sudden they feel like, oh wow, and then they start singing, and people like what they do, and they start applauding. Then it's like, wow, I'm something. I'm not only part of a group, but people like me, and maybe I can do something like that. It's amazing.
Let's give them something fun, something to smile about. And that you can, when you become better, that you can infuse with those life skills. Because if you want to become a top soccer player or a top chorister, you need discipline, you need endurance, you need hours to put in. And they became very good. So 2.5 years ago, we thought that they are so good that we started to ask our donors, we want to make from that support and healing program, we want to make it a youth employment program. We want to create jobs, because we think that they are there, that they can start singing professionally. And we bought instruments, and we bought this, and we bought that, and then we built up everything and started to go on the market where they sing for money at year-end functions or corporate functions or whatever. And that went well. And then we got the rights for a song from Ed Sheeran, which is called Shape of You, and that we Africanized. And that went viral.
Then my friends told me I'm slow. I'm shying on high and I'm shying, smile. I'm doing now, oh yeah, Baba. Now take my hand. Was I a Tokalinda, Baba, Bolami, nice dollar pants, and I'm singing like I sing for no tando love. Busy, oh yeah, Jalelo Mina. I'm not so young, Fabu, young sleep. I may be crazy, don't mind me, but hey, I'll just straight it up. I'm begging Santa, so on Dele Tuesday. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead.
And within a few months, 7-8 million views. Ridiculous.
And then we were invited to sing at a radio station and sing that Ed Sheeran song. And Ralph made a little video of us singing in the studio there. And he posted that on Facebook. And the scouter from AGT, John Marini, saw that, and he messaged, in Messenger of Facebook, because he did not have any contact details of Ralph. He says, I'm interested in the choir, I'm from AGT, and please contact me. And Ralph had something like, this is a prank, I'm not even going to react. And then 2 weeks later, he found out his email address or something like that, and he says, hello, my name is John Marini from AGT. We are really serious, can you maybe give me a call? And then Ralph started Googling, and he thought, oops, this is the real thing. And then we had to send another video, and John Marini loved it, and he says, well, it sounds too good to be true. This is obviously studio work. So how do I know that these kids can sing? And Ralph said, this is not studio, this is live. And he says, how do I know? This was all on the phone. And he says, well, if we can FaceTime now, kids are here, then we'll just let them sing. And I think that was even outside, somewhere under a tree. So they started singing, and Don said, I've heard enough, auditions in March. And that was how it went. It's amazing. And we thought, are we going to do this? Is this good for the children? And we thought, what the heck? This will be such a beautiful experience. This will be a lifetime opportunity. And we never, ever thought that it would be so life-changing.
Hi, guys.
What is the name of this group?
Our name is the Ndlovu Youth Choir, and we're all the way from Limpopo in South Africa.
Oh, you're from South Africa. Wow.
My name's Ralph Schmidt. I'm the conductor.
You're the conductor. How long have you been doing it?
We've been together for 10 years.
Hi.
Hi. What's your name?
My name is Sandy Limachola.
Is this your first time in America?
Yes, this is my first time in America. Hello, America!
And one of the girls asked Liesje, my wife, for how much time do I need to take clothing? And we said, well, it can be 1 week, because if we are out, then we're out. And if we are staying and we go to the next, then it is at least 3 weeks. And if the ridiculous thing happened, it will be around about 7 to 8 weeks.
You are, one word, beautiful. You sound beautiful, you look beautiful, and looking at your faces, the audience's faces, Simon's face, this is the first time he's worn glasses. You are the first act he has seen all season, and what a way to open up.
Simon, did you see him?
I thought the film was beautiful. The president of South Africa is actually tweeting about you. Wow. The pressure on the semi-final is enormous, and I really mean what I'm about to say. For me, this performance was in a way higher league than anything you've done prior to tonight. I love everything about it, and your joy, even when I see you guys backstage, the nicest group and most excited group of people we've had on the show for years. You really deserve a place in the final after that.
Well, it's quite a diverse group. The youngest is 13 and the oldest is 28. So some of them are still school going, and some of them, they have no job, but they can't do another job now because the choir is really getting full time now. Some of them really want to make this as their profession. There are 2 girls that are doing solos, and they have such a beautiful voice. At AGT, they even said this is maybe the new Whitney Houston. Come on, if somebody says that from you, there is a future. Some of them see it as a bypassing thing while they're still at school, because afterwards they want to go and study. But the majority really takes the choir serious.
Oh, okay, my name is Bonnie. I'm just around from here, so I was just a little boy growing up, you know. No, I only live with my grandmother and my grandfather, and then 2 siblings. And then one of the siblings, he's in the choir. So while I was walking around, I've always hear this choir singing, like, oh my goodness, these people sing so amazing. So I sometimes came in and sit down, watch them while they rehearse, and say, I've told myself, well, one day I'll be just like them. And then and then it happens another day while I was singing, going to fetch water because we have no running water. So while I was going to fetch water, I was singing because I like to sing in the streets, screaming. And then the conductor, Ralph Smith, and then he came out and then says, hey, how are you? I'm great. What's your name? And then I told him, you had a golden voice. Wow. Would you like to join the choir? And then that was my opportunity. Then that's how I joined the choir. I'm 18 years old. I've turned 18 years old while I was in America. Yeah, the journey was such a great experience. I was nervous the time I was in that stage because I was the leading solo. I was doing African Dream and we were doing the auditions. So the whole choir, like, we're depending. So I was nervous, but I've tried to get used to the people. And then Ralph always teach me, do not be afraid, do not always have a self-confidence. And that's how I get my self-confidence, stage presence, and how to connect with people as well. I really thank the choir right now because I don't know where would I be right now. I really don't know. Because I was just growing, schooling, doing nothing, shouting, screaming. They even stopped me in the choir. I love shouting. You know, like, I'm a talkative person. So the choir has played a really good role to me because I can now talk to people what is wrong with me, and then I can share my problems with some of the choir members. We can sit together and give advices. You know, we're just a family. You know, yeah, we just feel at home when we're together. My wish is to one day travel with my family because I really wish they could see what I'm doing out there. And I really wish one day the choir can just, guys, you can choose 2 people in your family, be going with them. My grandmother has shown, my grandparents actually has shown a lot of support for me. So I'm really grateful to them. And they know it, like, I always thank them. Even when I came to America, like, while I was in America, the time they were giving us money, I was making sure that I bring something home which will make them like, wow, well, we have something from family.
I'm Taufata, by the way, and now it's been a year been in this choir. Yeah, I live here around. Now I can communicate with people a lot. And I don't know what to say. It's changed a lot. Being happy, being around people, and I love that. I see the future so bright. We are exploring the world at the age of 16. Oh, that's very awesome. It's very nice.
These kids are so deep in my heart because they are really amazing kids. They all earn some money from their AGT journey, and I mean quite a substantial amount. And when they told me what they had done with the money, I thought, like, these kids are so amazing. Rachel bought a big 2,000-liter water tank for her grandmother with whom she lives, so that she doesn't have to fetch water every day and can ask the municipality to top it up. Sandile, believe it or not, bought a car full of sanitary pads because we've got a program here and it's called Pet a Girl, and it's where sanitary pads are given to girls that go to school and can't go to school when they have their monthly periods because they don't have pads. And he says, not one of my sisters should fail school because of your periods. And then I think, wow, you're a boy and you do this. And I can go on with stories like that. But every single one shared their money. For the first time in their life, they earned something and they shared. Isn't it wonderful? I think they know what I'm going to tell them. Never give up dreaming. If you can dream it, you can do it. And they show that.
And we didn't win the final, and I'm incredibly happy about it, because we won everything we could win, but not the $1 million. And you know, and you see now a bit what environment we live. When there comes $1 million by children in children's hands in this community, they are open for abuse. So we were very happy that we became finalists, but that we did not win. Then we came back. We were offered a contract by Sony Music. We're busy with our first album. We are starting to tour again. On the 2nd of November from this year, we have our first live performance in a big theater, which was sold out in 1.5 days. And it's ridiculous, but it's fun, and it gives those kids self-esteem and pride, and it gives those families an income, and it gives everybody satisfaction. So it's a fantastic program. If you look at the needs of a community like this, and you want to define health, then health has to do with food security. Health has to do with a safe environment. Health has to do that you dare to walk on the streets, not being afraid of being raped or mugged. So it's a complete different definition of health. And if you then have the opportunity, or create the opportunity like we did, to be allowed to work in a community like this, then looking at the individual is important, because he should not succumb under his health. But if you really want to look at what you can do for 140,000 people, then you have to look at public health and the importance of thinking prevention, of thinking community-based involved reactions about and education about healthcare, and about why vaccinations, and why family planning, and why this. That is much more important than just being a doctor who prescribes paracetamol and antibiotics.
Reason that you had to care. And you're not moving anywhere. You thought you'd find a friend to take you out of this place. Someone you could lend a hand in return for the race. It's a beautiful day. See the world.